What happened in the previous chapter was the continuation of the battle between Mash and Margaret. At first, it seemed like Margaret was overpowering Mash with her sound's magic, because Mash couldn't just punch it away. However, our hero outsmarted Margaret and used the floor to avoid getting hit by Margaret's magic. After that, Mash managed to pin Margaret down and punch her in the face with extraordinary strength. His attack didn't stop there, as he pinned her down and showered her with punches. However, it turns out that Margaret was just testing him and said that that was the thrill she was looking for. She then cast Sound's Metamorphose and transformed into her true form. This revealed a seemingly younger form of Margaret and her new abilities. Because of her new form, she was now as fast as Sound, and every snap of her fingers allowed her to move with extraordinary speed. Every sound she made with her snap became a way for her to teleport and attack Mash. When she thought Mash couldn't do anything about her speed, Mash used a wall to feel what Margaret's next attack would be. Due to Mash's non-human reflexes, he managed to immobilize Margaret snapping, and in the end, he caught the mischievous child. Meanwhile, at the Bureau of Magic, Onii-Chan reported to Rio Grant that the entire crew of Innocent Zero was moving, which made him realize that it was not good. What's up, Onii-Chan? Welcome back to our manga recap series about Mashle, Magic and Muscles, a story with a mix of Harry Potter and One Punch Man. So, let's start the video. Continuing the exciting story of Mash in a world full of magic, we move to his dragging of Margaret. Because of that attack, he managed to knock down the newly transformed opponent. Dot shouted in surprise and asked if that was what defeated Margaret. Lance answered and said no, that it was just a temporary solution and it could still be reversed. Lance thought to himself that even he didn't know what the outcome of the fight would be. However, Margaret still had her seconds, so it wasn't impossible for Mash to end up in danger. Margaret admitted that Mash was indeed commendable. Mash was surprised, so Margaret explained that he was a strong opponent. After that, she suddenly used her second magic, Sound's second, Death Gong. Mash looked at it and asked what it was. Margaret explained that the spell could knock down anyone who heard it. She referred to it as Death Knell. In 1 minute, it would sound and cover a 2-kilometer-wide land with its sound. And the only way to stop it was for Mash to get her wand. But he shouldn't forget that she could move as fast as Sound. Mash would have to catch her before a minute was up, or he would lose. His friends were nervous and said that Mash was indeed fast, but that was not enough. Dot said it was impossible. Lance, on the other hand, said that Mash's only hope was that they were confined to that arena. He thought if Margaret were running away from him, Mash wouldn't be able to do what he did earlier to stop Margaret. That was a difficult situation for Mash. Before long, Margaret prepared herself and began moving fast so that Mash couldn't catch her. Mash tried to reach her but only failed due to her speed. Margaret continued to toy with Mash as he tried to catch her. Margaret said that Mash's efforts were futile and that there were only 30 seconds left on her timer. As Mash continued to try and catch her, she began the countdown. Dot cried out in worry, saying that Mash had very little time left. Suddenly, Mash gripped the ground and, using his extraordinary strength, lifted half of the arena floor. Because of this, a barrier formed behind Margaret. The audience realized that Mash had done this to block the routes that Margaret could take. Upon thinking, Margaret realized that her only 2 choices were left or right. When she tried to go right, Mash was able to keep up with her. She thought that Mash had only guessed and couldn't really keep up with her, so he gambled on her going right. When Margaret thought that Mash had only made a guess and tried to go left, Mash was still able to keep up with her movements. She was surprised that Mash had faked a move. Tom commented on this and explained that what Mash did was a body feint. You're supposed to maneuver your torso in one direction to get the attention of your opponent's size while shifting in the other direction. He said that this was one of the basic skills in all sports while biting his nails. Margaret called Mash an idiot because she still had enough space, so it was impossible for him to catch her. Nevertheless, Mash was able to catch Margaret using his pinky finger. Margaret was shocked and couldn't believe that Mash was able to reach her with just his pinky. In the end, she was thrown off balance by Mash, wondering how that happened. Mash got Margaret's wand and immediately broke it with his hands. The audience was also very shocked and couldn't believe what was happening. Margaret's death gong didn't ring and finally disappeared, with the host announcing that the Sonic chase was over. Mash had defeated Margaret, getting him closer to becoming a divine visionary. Margaret just laughed and said that Mash had done all of that without any magic. She said she was fascinated by him and accepted her defeat. Mash just stared back. Unexpectedly, a disturbance suddenly occurred in the exam. A crack appeared in the sky, causing the people there to wonder. Before long, a chicken's foot emerged from it. Caldo was also disturbed, and the surprise was clearly seen on the faces of Mash's friends. A giant monster emerged, ridden by Innocent Zero, who saluted them. The place took on an intense aura, and the people there recognized that the one causing the disturbance in the exam was Innocent Zero. Innocent Zero pointed, and the color of the entire place seemed to change, and monsters started to appear. It appears that Innocent Zero had stopped time there, causing the place to freeze. Everyone there seemed stuck and unable to move. They approached Mash and said they were looking for him. They touched Mash's face and said how beautiful it was. They said they never thought they'd see Mash alive and couldn't explain the sadness they felt when they thought they had lost him. In the end, they referred to Mash as their son. Wow, what a revelation. They explained that once they absorbed Mash, they would be complete, so they decided to leave immediately. Suddenly, someone shouted for them to stop. It turned out to be Wahlberg, who was unaffected by Innocent Zero's magic. Wahlberg declared that he wouldn't just hand over Mash. One of the members of Innocent Zero thought that Wahlberg did not seem afraid of the dark magic that could stop time. However, they said they had prepared for Wahlberg. Suddenly, a giant axe cleaved into one of them, causing surprise. They were scared and asked what had happened. Was this the depth of Wahlberg's anger? Wahlberg laughed and said that if that person was scared now, then the worthless creature like him should leave, all while showing anger on his face. While the man was shaking with fear, Innocent Zero touched his shoulder. They told Wahlberg not to treat their allies that way. They said they would be sad about it. Wahlberg then asked about Innocent Zero's real goal. They explained that their only goal was to become a perfect human being. Immortal, forever beautiful, and powerful. That's all they wanted. Wahlberg said these goals were too obvious and was angered because Innocent Zero was capable of sacrificing so many lives for them. Stealing magic power, causing suffering, and even murder. Innocent Zero asked where the problem was with all of that. They didn't see what was so hard to understand about what they wanted. Their family exists for their benefit. They don't overlook Mash. Mash exists for them. They claimed Mash as theirs, and they would take him. Wahlberg laughed and said it seemed they were destined to be at odds. While releasing his 3 lines, he stated that Mash would be the hope of this world. So, if Innocent Zero wanted to take him, they would need to get past Wahlberg. Innocent Zero then said that decades had passed since their last fight. Both of them summoned their god power simultaneously. Wahlberg summoned Uranus, the god of the sky, while Innocent Zero called on Kronos, the god of time. And that's where this video ends. Who do you think will prevail among these 2 powerful mages? Will Innocent Zero be able to take Mash, or will they be overpowered by Headmaster Wahlberg? Write your comments down below. If you want more anime and manga recaps, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated on new videos.